Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to talk about AI. We're going to build an AI geologist and see how it could literally unearth the future of Earth science.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. Here's the deal. We are facing this monumental challenge, right? We need massive amounts of copper, lithium, and cobalt for this green energy transition. We're talking about everything from EVs to wind turbines, but here's the problem. Our old methods for finding these metals have totally flatlined. We need new ways to discover them, and we need them fast.
And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, or maybe the opportunity, by 2025, NASA figures it'll be sitting on 250 petabytes of Earth observation data. I mean, that is a literal digital haystack, and we're trying to find these tiny, tiny mineralogical needles. It's just way too much for any human team to sift through on their own.
So, to get our heads around how we're going to do this, our explainer is going to walk through 5 key parts. We'll kick things off with the global treasure hunt for these critical minerals. Then we'll see how an AI actually sees the planet through a digital twin. After that, we'll get into how we teach it to think like a geoscientist, what its AI-generated maps look like, and finally, and this is super important, why human experts are still the most critical piece of this entire puzzle.
The thing is, to keep up with this incredible demand, we have to completely rethink how we explore. Traditional methods, like sending geologists out into the field, they're absolutely essential, but they're also slow and incredibly expensive. They just can't cover the vast, remote areas we need to search. Our old playbook for finding minerals just can't keep up. Okay, so if the old ways aren't enough, what's new? Well, that brings us to the AI's eyes. To find minerals, our AI geologist needs to see the planet in ways we humans simply can't. And it does this by analyzing a digital twin of the Earth. Basically, a massive virtual replica built from all the remote sensing data we get from satellites circling the globe.
So how does it see? Well, it uses 2 main tricks. Passive sensing is kind of like taking a picture. It just uses the sunlight that's already there to see the surface. But the real game changer? That's active sensing, like synthetic aperture radar, or SAR. It's like the satellite has its own flashlight. It sends down its own energy pulse, which means it can see right through clouds and can map the Earth's surface day or night. That opens up huge regions that used to be impossible to explore.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. Each satellite is like a specialist with a different tool. For example, Aster can see in thermal infrared, which helps it find the heat signatures of specific minerals that form near deposits. Meanwhile, Landsat 9 can spot these super subtle differences in what the ground is actually made of. And when you fuse all these different views together, man, you get an incredibly rich, multi-layered digital twin of the planet.
Okay, so we've got the eyes. Now, how do we build the brain? How does the AI process all this data? Well, it's all fed into this new kind of model, one that's designed to understand our planet not just as a static picture, but as this complex, dynamic, living system.
They're called Geoscience Foundation Models, or GFMs. The best way to think about them is like ChatGPT, right? But instead of being trained on all the text and images from the internet, they're trained on the Earth itself, its physics, its chemistry, its geology. And that's what makes them so powerful. They can be adapted to new tasks, like predicting weather or forecasting landslides, without having to be rebuilt from scratch every time.
So this all comes together to create a pretty powerful AI agent that works in 3 simple steps. First, perception. It just gobbles up all that different satellite data. Second, the brain. It uses that GFM we just talked about to reason and plan. And third, action. It actually does something useful, like generating a map that shows exactly where mineralization is most likely to occur.
And if you peek inside that brain, you'll find some really powerful architectures. You've got CNNs, which act like a geologist's magnifying glass, zeroing in on local patterns and textures. Then you have transformers, which are kind of the opposite. They step back and see the entire landscape, connecting clues that might be hundreds of miles apart. And you even have GANs, which help fill in the blanks by creating realistic data when we don't have enough real-world examples.
All right, we've got the eyes, we've got the brain. So what? What can this thing actually do? Well, it can create what is, for all intents and purposes, a treasure map for finding minerals, pointing geologists toward the most promising spots on Earth.
The main way we turn all this data into an actual discovery is a process called mineral prospectivity mapping, or MPM for short.
So what is that?
It's basically a process where the AI takes all those different layers of evidence we talked about. The rock chemistry, the locations of ancient fault lines, geophysical data, you name it, and it fuses them all together. And what comes out the other end? A single, powerful map that highlights the areas with the absolute highest potential for discovery.
And look, the results are, well, they're pretty staggering. A 2025 study found that their AI model just blew traditional methods out of the water. It was way better at pinpointing the real mineralized zones and, maybe just as important, it dramatically cut down on the false alarms, which saves an incredible amount of time and money. But, and this is a really big but, this technology is not some kind of magic wand. The AI Geologist is an incredible tool, for sure, but it has some serious limitations. And that's exactly why the human expert is more crucial now than ever before.
So here's the reality check. You run into some big hurdles. For one, getting enough good, clean data is really hard. Then there's the black box problem. A lot of these complex models can give you an answer, but they can't tell you why they gave you that answer. And that's a huge deal, because without a human expert providing that domain knowledge, an AI might just find a pattern that looks good statistically but makes zero sense geologically.
And because of all those challenges, the real goal here isn't to replace geologists. Not at all. It's to build a team, a human AI team, where the AI does the heavy lifting with the data, and the human provides the critical context, the intuition, and frankly, the sanity check.
And the numbers totally back this up. Look at this. An AI model working on its own might hit, say, 85% accuracy. Pretty good. But you add a human expert to the mix, someone to review and guide the process, that accuracy jumps way up, often well into the 90s. And why? Because the human brings that critical geological reasoning that the machine just doesn't have.
So what's next? Well, the future of this partnership is starting to look a lot more like a conversation, moving beyond complex code and into just plain language.
I mean, just imagine this. An expert could simply ask a specialized AI, like this research project called Earth Dial, a simple question in plain English. Hey, look at these two satellite photos taken at different times. See any changes?
And the AI can come back with a perfect, easy-to-understand answer. Yep, looks like some new buildings went up in the woods over here. This turns what used to be an incredibly complex data analysis problem into a simple, interactive chat. It's a total game changer for getting insights fast.
Which really leaves us with one big final thought. As we go out searching for the resources that are going to power our future, who is going to make that next great discovery? A human? An AI? Or, and I think you know where I'm going with this, will it be a team of both? A partnership that combines timeless human wisdom with the awesome analytical power of the machine.